Now, that's kind of it when it comes to the pH in the blood. Now, I want to ask one question, and this is for myself. When it comes to the smoothie, a problem that I have with a smoothie is, a lot of times what you end up putting, I find them way too sweet, and the too much sugar just spikes my blood sugar. And now, what
Yep.
can I do about that?
So first of all, really focus on vegetables instead
Okay.
of fruit. Okay, so
Okay.
people talk about fruits and vegetables. I talk about vegetables and fruit. They should really be in that ratio or in that kind of priority. So when you're making a smoothie or even making a juice, really focus on vegetables and using fruit as a sweetener, if you will. I
Okay.
think a lot of people make a
Okay.
mistake by going crazy on the bananas and all of like the tropical fruits, and then it's just like this surge of liquid sugar coming into their bloodstream. So I'll give you a really cool recipe.
Okay.
This is a really good transition green smoothie. So if you're kind of new to greens and you're maybe not too crazy about how they taste, so take one head of kale or a head of Swiss chard, any green leafy vegetable, okay, spinach, lettuce, whatever. One banana, one apple, one pear. Take about a half a handful of cilantro, cut one lime, squeeze the juice into the blender, and add about 3 cups of water. Blend that all up, and that'll give you about a liter of green juice, or sorry, green smoothie. And excuse me, you can share that with your family. For me, what I'll often do is if I'm at the office, I'll just have that for like half of my day. That'll be my meal for half of my day. If you want some more protein in there, you can throw in some hemp seeds. You can throw in some spirulina. You can throw in flax oil for omega-3s. There's a lot of cool things you can do with that, but as a base, you're getting about 5 to 6 servings of vegetables and fruit right there, and you're getting it in a form that is easily absorbable by your body because the blender has now broken up all the fiber, rendering all those nutrients more readily absorbable. And that's a really important thing because when you eat a salad, for instance, the roughage, the fiber, can make it tough sometimes to access the nutrients inside of it. And not saying that salad is bad because it's not. But sometimes it's really helpful to liquefy your meals, really, really helpful for absorption. And that recipe I just gave you is like, it's one of my staples, and I think it's probably one of the best tasting green smoothies that you could have.
Okay. Okay. I'll try that. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Now, one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was you, the description when it relates to your book, you talk about energy vampires, and I think we've kind of highlighted one, which ends up being sugar, but maybe
Mhm.
you can maybe highlight another one that people, another thing that's sucking people's energy away, just like an
Sure.
energy vampire.
So I'm not going to talk about caffeine because everyone knows about caffeine, even though that is one of them. But I want to talk about wheat, so breads, pastas, cereals. And the reason wheat is a problem is a couple of reasons. First of all, it contains, and for the most, for all intents and purposes, it's pretty quickly broken down into sugar. Even if it's whole grain bread, it's still rather quickly metabolized and digested, and then that's going to spike your blood sugar. So there's really no nutritional value to eating bread other than the fact that we're used to it. And there's a lot of really good alternatives instead of that. But the other thing is that it's obviously it contains gluten, which is a protein complex, which is very problematic for human health. And gluten has been associated with 190 autoimmune conditions. So, little personal story here. When I was younger, I suffered from a lot of digestive problems, really bad eczema, really bad asthma, very low energy. And when I was 17, I lost all of my hair in the space of 6 weeks. And as you can tell, this is kind of what it looked like. So I didn't really understand why that was going on. It took me about 8 years to figure it out. Doctors had no idea. They just said it was an autoimmune condition called alopecia. And 8 years later, when I went back to school to study holistic nutrition, I realized that because I was eating so many acidifying foods, but also foods that were high in gluten, like, because I would eat like 3 to 4 cereals, like bowls of cereal a day. I would survive on breads and pastas because that's how I thought athletes were supposed to eat. Little did I know that gluten was causing all this damage inside my body. And I mean, obviously it wasn't the gluten alone, but it was a big culprit because gluten attacks the gut lining. And as I mentioned earlier, if the gut lining becomes compromised, you can allow bigger food particles and proteins to come into your bloodstream. The immune system then sees those as foreign invaders and attacks them. And if those foreign invaders look like some of the tissue in your body, then what can end up happening is the development of an autoimmune condition. So in how it relates to energy, gluten very closely mimics thyroid tissue. And Hashimoto's disease, which is low thyroid function as a result of autoimmunity, is heavily related to gluten consumption. And that's because the more bread pasta you eat, the more gluten is inside your body. And over time, your body says, hey, this is my thyroid gluten? I'm going to attack that. And in 90% of low thyroid cases, it's actually autoimmune Hashimoto's. So considering the thyroid is so important for our metabolism and our energy, if you have low thyroid function as a result of eating gluten, there's a direct correlation to, that's one of the reasons why I say wheat is an energy vampire we want to stay away from. So that's how it relates to thyroid function as well as autoimmunity. But also wheat is, again, it's a simply digested sugar pretty much, spikes your blood sugars, it'll take you on a roller coaster ride, and there you go. So that's a big energy vampire.
Oh, okay. Now, we've talked about, we've mainly talked about food being something that can affect your energy. Now, and adjusting your food can increase your energy. What is another thing that people can end up doing that isn't food related that'll help increase their energy?
Sure. So I have 7 energy principles or principles of energy in this book. And I just want to read one of them because I think it's something that will kind of make you think. And if I can even find these, I can't even remember them off the top of my head sometimes. So, so just give me a second here. Okay, so I'm going to read this. It's principle number 5. It says, there seems to be a relationship between cognitive function and energy. A cluttered mind, depressed emotional state, and inability to focus tend to drain your energy. Thus, any activity that clears and focuses your mind can give you sustained energy. So you read that and you're like, how on earth does that make any sense? So here's the thing. I don't know if you've ever felt this, Rick. I'm sure you have because we're both crazy go, go, go people. When you have 1,000 things on your mind, it's almost like there's this feeling that your head's going to explode and there's this like huge weight on you, right? And it's not very uplifting in terms of energy. It kind of just like, it's very like heavy. So one of the things that I'm a huge fan of is gratitude journaling and meditation. So they can almost go hand in hand. So first of all, meditation is really key for us A-type personalities where it's like go, 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 nonstop thinking all the time. All you have to do is take 5 minutes away from your work, sit down in silence and close your eyes. Clear your mind and just breathe deeply. That 5 minutes will do more to energize you than any amount of espressos. Because what it's doing is it's clearing your mind. And as I just read, anything that clears your mind is going to alleviate the energy in your body. It's going to help you come back to life. It recharges your batteries. So it could be as little as 5 minutes of meditation. You can do more if you want, but that is a huge, huge thing, and it's completely free. Okay, it's like the magic pill that nobody has to pay for. Gratitude journaling, same idea. When we are pissed off or upset at people, a lot of that's coming from our thoughts. We're focusing on what this person did to me, what I don't have, lack, scarcity, stress. When we shift the focus to love and gratitude, all of that stuff goes away. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, appreciate what you do have. And when you appreciate what you have, that's where your focus goes. Because it's like a miner's cap, right? Like the miner's cap with the light on the top of it. It can only focus on one thing at a time. Like if it's looking at the dirt, it's going to focus on the dirt. But if it's looking at the gold, it's only looking at the gold. So the same thing with us. Like if we're focusing and writing out what we're grateful for, it automatically shifts our perspective, our perception, and it makes us feel a lot better. And you could have the healthiest diet in the world, but if you are a workaholic, nonstop racing thoughts, always stressed out and focusing on what you don't have as opposed to what you do, I guarantee you're probably not going to be feeling as great as you could be. And simply by, I mean, that's why we all go on vacation, right? We all take a week vacation or a couple of days off just to get away from everything. And it's amazing how we all feel better when we're on vacation because there's no stress, our mind is clear, and there's a reason for that. So that's why I think meditation and gratitude journaling are really important to clear our minds so that we can just enjoy the energy and kind of be present.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Great 2 ideas. Now, that's it. That was all the questions that I ended up having for you. Is there anything that you want to leave people with?
Yeah. So 2 things. First of all, low energy exhaustion is a warning sign. And I tell this to you as a public service announcement because for 17 years of my life, I suffered with really low energy and I eventually lost all of my hair. So I'm happy that it was my hair and not something else. And unfortunately for a lot of people, it could be low thyroid function, it could be multiple sclerosis, it could be fibromyalgia, it could be chronic fatigue syndrome, it could be a multitude of problems. And it all starts with energy because if your body is not, if you're not energized, your body is using that energy internally for healing, repair, and doing what it has to do to bring you back to kind of life. Think about the last time you were sick, if you were in bed. You didn't feel very energetic, right? And that's because your body used that energy to repair itself and heal itself. So if you're tired all the time, that's essentially what your body is saying, okay? It's not saying go get another Starbucks coffee or an espresso. It's saying, hey, fix something inside of here so that we can feel more energized. We can release the energy to put towards movement, mental clarity, whatever. So with that said, it's amazing how resilient the human body is. If you feel like crap, if you can't sleep properly, if you wake up feeling like you just got run over by a truck, if you fall asleep after lunch, if you have no energy at the end of a long day, the amazing thing is that I've seen thousands and thousands of people from the ages of 20 all the way up to 80 completely transform that in the space of 24 to 48 hours by applying the principles that we're talking about here. And it doesn't matter. Here's the disclaimer. If you're a human being and you live on planet Earth, this will work for you. Okay? If you're not, it probably won't. But that's what I know for sure. Once you understand the basic fundamental physiology of how our body operates and what resonates with it, it's amazing how quickly the shift can happen. And obviously everyone's different, but for the most part, 7 days is a long period of time in terms of the transformation that you can see in that amount of time. So if you feel tired, if you feel like there's no hope, there is hope. You can feel and look amazing. You can feel like you did 10 or 15 years ago. And yeah, so don't give up.
Awesome.
Tomorrow can definitely be better than today.
Awesome. Great advice. Great advice. So Yuri, thank you very much for your time again.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And thank you everyone at exercisesforinjuries.com, viewers and listeners and readers. Thank you for joining me on this interview again. Make sure to swing by exercisesforinjuries.com, enter in your injury or pain. There's a good chance that I have an article, video, or an interview that'll help you overcome your injury or pain. Secondly, if you're watching this on YouTube, head up above, hit subscribe. What that'll do is every couple days you'll get a video from me talking about overcoming injury and pain. Thirdly, head down below, hit like, and leave myself and Yuri a comment. So that's it. This is Rick Kaselj and Yuri saying take care and goodbye.